Hey Siri, call Jenna.
Hey friends, ambitious souls, welcome to Sorta Ambitious, the podcast where two moms navigate the chaotic yet beautiful journey of motherhood and entrepreneurship.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jenna.
And together we're your dynamic duo diving into the real, unfiltered tales of balancing diapers and deadlines.
Whether you're juggling nap time, creating content, swapping parenting hacks, business tips, Sorta Ambitious is your go-to space for all things mom life and entrepreneurship.
We're not claiming to have it all figured out, but we're here to share our stories, passions, and the occasional chaos that comes with running a business and a household.
Expect candid conversations about the struggles, triumphs, and the messy middle ground where ambition meets mom life.
And hey, if you're a mompreneur or someone trying to navigate this crazy world, you're in good company with us. We've got your back.
So buckle up, grab your coffee or wine, no judgment here, and join us every week as we embark on this sorta ambitious journey together. Because let's face it, life gets a bit messy, it's a lot ambitious, and completely worth it.
Fine. Oh, there you are. I can see you. Is it because I was a guest? Is it because I'm a guest?
Maybe you can't see me until I'm ready for you to see me.
Wow, that's good. Don't
All right,
judge
you
me.
guys are
I'm in my
back
pajamas.
again. I think they're cute.
Oh, thanks. Because it's 1:30 in the afternoon.
We didn't have to tell them that. They didn't have to know.
I'm just kidding. It's actually 7 p.m. I'm getting ready for bed. Just doing my podcast right before I go to sleep.
I will say, when we decide to record, I usually do my work earlier in the morning so that like I can record in the afternoon when I typically would work.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I've had the last week, like every day is the wrong day. In my head today was Friday. I have plans Friday night that I was like, I need to do XYZ before that comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the last like week and a half, I've had the day wrong every day. But every morning I walk out and I look at my calendar on the fridge and you'd think I'd have my life together, but I don't.
No.
I feel like
No, I literally had this thought the other day because I went to the gym at 5 for the 5 a.m. camp. I was going to work out, but in my head, I was going to work, even though I wasn't going to work. So I was there a whole 30 minutes before I had to be there because I got there as an employee versus as
ready
a
to clock in for your
member.
shift.
Yes. And I pulled up and I'm like, why am I first? There's nobody here. And then I was like, oh my God, what time is it? And I look at the clock and I'm like, it's 4:30 in the morning. It's actually 4:23 in the morning, and I'm
even early to your shift.
Early to my shift. That was not my shift. And I was like, that's such mom brain. Like I feel like I never know what day it is. I never know what time it is. Half the time Shannon and I miss our window to do what we need to do because we have other things to do.
Yes. So confusing.
I understand.
Okay, but speaking of that, what is your mom high? With your mom brain, what's your mom high?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I have a mom high this week. It's Cohen's been sick. Like on and off fever since Monday night. And I feel like mom high is maybe that he is doing a little bit better today. Like hasn't had a fever all day. I think fever broke last night, but still had one last night. And I was supposed to work today. Which I didn't. We can talk about that later. But like it's just been a week of like feeling like I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I can't get anywhere when I need to be there. I'm there. I'm not disappointing anybody, but I'm not aware of what time is currently.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just been like one of those weeks. So he's getting better. It feels like
Absolutely. A sick kid is so awful. So awful. You feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
That's very similar to my mom high though, because I was also gonna say that my mom brain has been working overtime because over the weekend I got on Instagram and Facebook and I looked up all these local pages and I was like, I'm gonna find all the stuff that we can do. So I'm gonna find story times and like we went to gymnastics. I was like, I'm gonna find all this stuff. I'm gonna treat my son to just like a full week of kid activities every minute of the day. And
Fun.
some of it has been working out, but one, like I said, I've had the day wrong every day. And so I'm driving to the gymnastics gym thinking that we're about to do toddler time. And they're like, we're closed, ma'am. Can you leave, please? And I'm like, okay, great. And then I have a son that's so upset that we're not going to gymnastics, right? Because that's what I had been telling him. Or two, I go to the right place on the right day, but the wrong time. So I show up today for a story time at a new bookstore that we've never been to. And I was so excited because they have a coffee shop on the inside. And I was like, this is going to be so beautiful. And they're like, ma'am, you're an hour late. And I'm like, great. She was
I
really sweet
feel
though. And she let my son like do the craft anyway. She was like, come into my office. You can do the craft. And so like it was a little Mother's Day craft. So that was really sweet. But my mom, high slash, I guess, low, is that I thought I was so on top of it and being the funniest mom in the world. Like half of it right. Half of it.
I was just telling my friend this today, like texting me, asked how I'm doing. And, sometimes that's just a really loaded question as a mom to ask. It's
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
wonderful to like be asked because you don't get asked that like super often. That's just like the truth. You don't get like, hey,
Mhm.
how's it going? Like, how you feeling? You know? And so anyways, I got asked that question and I was like, honestly, it's just been fucking hard. Okay? I'm in a season of feeling like not I don't want to say isolation, but that's just like the word that always seems to come to mind when it's like this topic
Yes.
because it just feels so isolating in so many ways. Like not just that you aren't with people that you were with for a long time, or not just because you are splitting your time between like your kid and your husband, and then like your own mental health is just like constantly in its own battle and struggle with things, but like she asked like how's it going, and I kind of like unloaded all of that, and then I was like, I know that's not what you asked for, but I do appreciate you asking me how I'm feeling because this is how I'm feeling. And I don't know how to like just be like, I'm okay when like I'm not okay. And I know that you're a friend that like is genuinely asking me how I'm feeling. So,
It is such a loaded question, though. I do feel like your word isolation is perfect, though, at least from my perspective, because that's so real. I've actually been on this existential crisis the last couple days of the world that I'm in, the like my lifestyle, being a football wife. And does that mean I'm ever going to have friends? Are we going to constantly be moving? Does that ever mean I'm going to be able to spend time with the people I want to spend with? Does that mean that my son is ever going to be able to do a sleepover because we're never going to be around family or friends that we trust because it's going to be someone that we met 2 months ago? Is he ever going to have friends come to his birthday party because we're going to be constantly going to new schools? And is he going to,
yeah,
like, my brain? I'm like, what the heck?
I know. I feel
And
that. I feel that too. I think, whoa, look like pebbles. I'm just, there. Um, yeah, I feel like that's where my brain has also been the last couple days too. So I feel that, and like I said, it's probably just because it's like someone I trust that ask me how I feel. So
mhm,
I was like able to say that, and of course she's like the sweetest. Her response was like, well, just like know that you are doing like such a good job. You should be proud of like everything you're doing. And I was like, what's so crazy is that like I am so proud. I am like I'm so proud that I'm working out. I'm so proud that I brought this human into this world that like I get to spend time with, and like I'm proud of our digital marketing stuff. I'm proud of our podcast. I'm proud of like where the efforts are going. I know I'm doing my best, but as a mom, as a wife, I still feel like as a friend, I could be doing more. And that just like
absolutely.
sucks that like you constantly feel that no matter how proud of the things that you have or the things that you're doing you are, there's always this like I need to be doing more, and I just want to be like, no, shut the fuck up, you're fine, it's okay. You
Yeah,
don't have to be doing more.
absolutely. And I
So
think I mentioned this. I know I've mentioned this to you personally, Jenna, but like I think I've said it on the podcast maybe once or twice. But I was never someone that struggled with like anxiety or depression or any of those kind of like I guess cycle thoughts but pre-kid, but since having a kid, that's like
hmm
all my brain does. And I don't know how
Same.
to even just communicate to someone like, I am beyond happy with my life. Like,
Yeah.
I love my life. I love the people I have in my life. I love who I am truly to my core. I am proud of my person I am. But like, why am I sad? Why
Yeah.
am I stressed? Like, why can't I just be
I'm laughing,
happy? Like,
Shannon, not
what the
because I'm
heck
laughing at
is
you, but
that?
because it's the same. I feel the same way. I was not someone, I've said that before. If you listen to previous podcasts, like, I don't feel like I'm someone that's this. I can't relate to that. And now, since being a mom, I feel like that's all that I have. That's all that's like in my
Yeah.
brain every day, constantly. And I feel like that kind of goes into like what I said I wanted to mention today, just like the mom guilt now that I have a job and somewhere that I have to clock
Hmm.
into. Um,
Hmm.
because again, my friend's like asking how I'm doing, knowing that she's asking like, how's the job? How's like, she knows I've been in this like transition. And so again, a loaded question. And I was like, I personally, I really do feel like I overcommitted like where my mental health needs to be in this
Hmm.
position. And like I'm I was like I just feel like I need it in a different way. And I feel like I've probably said that now a couple times since I've gotten the job, since we've been recording, but like it's becoming more and more like, I don't know, clear in my head, especially
Hmm.
since Cohen's been sick, because I had a shift today, and the 2 weeks that he's been sick in this like month and a half that I've had a job, um, Kyle has like randomly been home from work. And
Yeah.
so he's been able to stay home with him, and I've gone to work and like haven't even really thought about it much because I know he's safe and he's with his dad, and where he's at home. And so then this last week, same thing. Kyle's plant broke down. Cohen's had a fever since Monday. Like he just was able to be here. And today he had to go to work. And so I had to get the shift covered. And like it was anxiety full all the way through my body. I'm not like, I don't even know how else to describe it. It's like I just felt terrible. I had like, I feel bad that
Hmm.
I'm disappointing a employer, which I know that that's like not how they're probably thinking about it. Like so sweet in the responses, but like in my mom head, I'm thinking, I can't, like, oh my gosh, if I can't get it covered, like what am I supposed to do? And then I called my mom because I was like, Mom, I feel like I'm creating scenarios in my head that are actually not even my situation. Like, oh my God, what do single moms do? Oh my God, what do people do if they have to go? Like and so
Yeah.
then I was getting anxious about those things, like things that are not my situation. And I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, why
Wait,
are
sorry.
you?
Someone's at my front door.
Oh, that's okay. Pause.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I feel like you were
No,
having a
that's okay. No,
good
I
point.
think,
But
anyways, I basically was saying like I just was having a full like moment of kind of realizing like that I do have a really good situation that I'm in, whether I keep the job or I don't keep the job. Like my husband's so wonderful and has like allowed me to stay home and like, be there for our son if that's what I decide that I want to do. And I'm just so grateful that that like is an option, and like that I don't have to stress about that ever. Or at least like that's our current situation, like we're not in a position where I have to have a job. It's for me. Like I took it from myself. I took it to be able to like talk to other humans and give him time with kids. But when it came down to like, oh my gosh, I have a shift tomorrow and I can't go, and Kyle can't be here with him, and I don't have any other help, like what do I do? Do I quit my job? Like what do I do? What do I do? And
yeah.
I'm, like I said, I'm grateful that like it worked out and it's fine, but like the anxiety of those 27 minutes of like trying to figure it out felt like a whole day. A whole day
Right.
of just feeling like this is the worst. What do I do if nobody can? What do I do? What what do I do? And I know
Yeah.
that
And it
that's a
feels,
position people are in often, you know? So that was really my thought. That it just brought me to like single moms and, families who have to have two jobs. And I don't know, it was really hard for me. Like I said, called my mom, cried about it. It's like I've created all these scenarios in my head that are not mine. And then I felt the like struggle of all of that in those 27 minutes that I had to figure
Yeah,
it out.
absolutely. I mean, and that's what I
So,
think I was saying to you yesterday, like the grass always feels greener on the other side. If I say to myself, like, oh, I can find a different scenario that would work better for me, but I don't, I feel like it'd be a different problem with a different company, a different
yeah. Mm-hmm.
issue with a different problem, whatever I'm trying to say. Because like earlier today, I was just enjoying my time at the park with my son, and I'm getting like texts and calls and emails about work that quote unquote seem urgent for the other side of the party, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
urgent. And I'm
Yeah.
not on the clock and it's not my scheduled hours. But like the anxiety that goes through my body to like handle things for people and fix
Respond and
things and do
handle.
things.
Yeah.
And you know me like pre-kid with a job that was like my life. I was constantly working
Yeah.
from my little like iPhone. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't turn it off. And I'm trying to like be guilt-free about right now in my life, my season,
Mm-hmm.
only doing what I'm capable of doing for this job, even if it means I feel like I'm giving half-ass, but I'm really not. I just had like a annual review meeting and I was
Mm-hmm.
literally told my face that I'm doing a fantastic job. But I'm like, but I'm not giving you 60 hours a week and like every minute I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah.
So in my head I'm not doing fantastic. But
Exactly. No, I think that's what I was saying. Like, even if we are so proud of what we are doing and where we're putting our mind and where we're putting our passions and where we're following like the path that feels like the right thing, it still never feels like it's enough. It always feels like we're
yeah,
falling short somewhere. And maybe that's just like part of growing up. Maybe we don't ever figure that out. Maybe that's just what life feels like. It's like, oh, I could be doing this or I could be doing that. But I feel like as a mom, where your kids are little and you're in a season of trying to juggle new things, old things, whatever it is, like family dynamics, living across the country from people that are important to you, like it all feels crazy. It just feels crazy.
yeah.
And I feel like I said to my friend, I was like, I know this probably sounds just like a lot, but you don't know until you're in the situation, until you physically have someone who needs your attention constantly, constantly, that like you feel crazy. And it just makes,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just makes more sense when you're in it. And I'm
When you don't know until you try, right? You don't know if it
yeah.
does or doesn't work for you and your family until you try. And I'm all about giving it like a good college try where I'm not going to force it to work if it doesn't work,
Hmm. And
but
that's my
at least I can
advice
say I
for
tried.
everybody. But I don't take that advice. I'm
Right.
like, you got it.
The hard part.
Test it out. It's okay. And I'm like, if it doesn't work, it's cool. Like, don't beat yourself up about it. And then I'm over here like, oh my God, I'm the worst person
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Like, why can't
Well,
I like, why can't I come out of it, you know?
can I end this on like a little bit of a funny note though?
Yeah.
Directly
Yeah.
before recording this podcast, I was having like I said,
Oh
my
my gosh,
yearly
yes.
annual review or whatever. And like I said, it was good. They were giving me kudos. We talked about like what are the goals and like what is things wanting to look like in the future. All good conversation. For whatever reason, my computer that was sent to me by the company, it like glitches randomly and the screen will just go black and then it will come back and I'll be like right back in action 3 seconds later. This one, for whatever reason, like kicks me. What is going on?
Are they still out there?
Oh no, Kendall's phone. For whatever reason, this one kicks me out of the meeting, but never let me re-enter back in.
Hmm.
And so I, from their perspective, had left. But from my perspective, I was still in the meeting. Like I could see them and hear them. So I called and I said, hey, like I can't get back in for whatever reason. I'm sorry. Is there anything else you wanted to like talk about? And she's like, no, we can hear. That's totally fine. So I hung up on the phone but the screen wouldn't let me leave the team's meeting. And so it was just on my screen and there was nothing I could do. And they were still talking about me while the meeting had ended. I could hear them talking about me. And so then I panicked and I called Jenna and I was like, they're talking about me, but they don't know they're talking about me, but I can't leave. I don't know what to do. And she was like, record it and like go to a lawyer, or whatever you said.
And I was
And I
like,
was no.
record it. What if it's, I was like, you can hold that against them if they're saying that.
And I will say the first part, like there was a little mean, but generally it was really nice. But I was more just like, I feel like I should tell them that I can hear them talking about me, but at the same time, that's going to make them so uncomfortable. And like, we don't need to talk about it. We can just, no one needs to know, right?
Oh my gosh, that
But
is so funny. That was really
it
funny.
just, it
I
was a
feel
little
like
interesting.
we
But
didn't have we didn't have a great topic today, but it's just more of us sharing our real life. This is what's going
venting,
on.
I guess.
Yeah, venting. I don't know. Sometimes that feels a little bit easier to like talk about, whether it's like venting about good things or venting about hard things. I think hard things a lot of the times are easier to relate to, especially as a mom, or like feeling understood or feeling like you're not alone in it. So we know that
I
we're
mean,
not,
your
but
word
it does.
isolation hit me to the core because, I mean, that's 1,000%. And isolation, even when I'm not choosing it and I'm actively trying to like
Yeah,
not make that a reality. That's what's
yeah.
wild is I'm trying so hard to
That's what I
connect with
said.
people and
I
do
think I
stuff and get out and like do
should read what I
things.
texted her. Sometimes I feel like it's just like a boat of maybe this is what's going on. I said, truthfully, being a mom is just isolating in so many ways. It feels like it never goes your way, no matter how hard you try. You're always having to take care of someone else's needs. Your mental health is shook constantly. And it's just been really hard. I feel like yeah, that's what I said. Because,
Yeah.
could you
Well,
just
and
come
I don't
back,
know if you struggle with this. I
please?
know.
Please come back, Shannon.
The other thing I struggle with is me as a person. I've known this about myself for a while. Some days I'm in the mindset, headspace to vent and like
Hmm.
to
Yeah, talk about it.
emotionally talk about things.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not in that headspace. I'm having a completely opposite day. So I don't want to dive into those feelings that I'm not currently feeling.
Hmm.
And I feel this a lot with podcasting. Like sometimes I have this idea of what we should talk about. And then the next day that we're podcasting, I'm not in that space anymore. So I don't feel like
Hmm.
faking it or like
Yeah.
trying to tap into that feeling again.
Yeah.
But I feel like that for me, that comes a lot to with talking about mom stuff too. Because one, sometimes I do want to reach out to people and like lean on people for stuff, but I'm terrified that they're not in that same mind space and I don't want to bring them to it. You know, I don't
Hmm.
want to suck you into a vent session if you're like, my day, my week is going fine and dandy. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But then also, sometimes I will reach out. Like, it's definitely happened with my sister before. I've reached out and been like, oh my gosh, I'm going through it. I need to talk about it. And she is either busy, doesn't see my message, or whatever. And then like will try to connect with me on that same conversation a few days later, and I'm like, yeah, no, the boat has sailed.
Over
I'm
it.
not.
Hmm. I
I'm either over it. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I would rather
Hmm.
just hear about your life. Tell me about what's going on with you because I don't want to talk about me. You know, it's just different.
I feel like the reality of it is that like we're all probably never like on the same exact
Hmm.
spot, you know? But like
Hmm.
I feel like especially when a friend is like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" Whether it's good or bad, like fucking tell me that it's tell me it's good,
That's very
and
true.
then tell me it's bad. Also tell me it's bad, and I'll be like, "Dang, I'm so sorry." You know, like I think that that's where I wherever you are, whenever you see the message, whether it's like you couldn't get to the message when someone asked how you were feeling, you know, but like you do get to it and they're like, oh, they asked how I'm feeling. This is how I'm feeling. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm doing good when I'm not. Because, like I said, that she's a friend that I feel like I can always tell the truth to. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm that way.
Yeah.
You can tell me, Shannon. Mad, good, mad,
I'm that way
sadder,
too.
whatever.
I agree. I agree. Actually, that's a lie. I know that about you, but I still don't do it. Like I know that about you, but I still don't call you on the days where, well, sometimes I do, but I still don't call you on the hard days because I'm like, oh, Jen is so happy and sweet and loving all the time. I'm not gonna bring her down.
Gosh, I feel like that is so true. I think people think that. I do. I think people think that. And I know I love that people think that, but that is not my reality since I'm a kid. I don't feel like I'm always in the most positive, most like excited place. And I think that's also
Yeah.
like my personality difference in the job that I'm in now. Like I wanted to be this person that could be super supportive for everybody, but like that's not who I am right now. I need people to be supportive of me. Like I need people to like show up as my mom friends, and I need people to ask me how I'm doing, and I need to talk about it with my mom friends and like be that person versus the other version of me that I have been most of my life. And
Yes.
I'm I'm learning
Yes.
that, and I'm really trying to understand that. But like I said, it's just the realizations that you have when you're put into a position like being a mom, that you rethink
Hmm.
all those things and things start to change and your personality
1000%.
changes.
I think for my whole life, I've always been the friend for people that they never feel like they have to check on me because I'm always just like rock solid. And also, they know that if they ask me, how's it going, I'm just going to say good or fine or whatever. Because my whole life, that's actually what I felt. I've been fine. I'm fine. Like, no issues. Since being a mom, no one asks me anything because that's just the person I am. I'm always to say I'm good. No one asks me anything. So no, and I'm in the mindset right now where I'm like, I want I want to be emotional. I am emotional. But my whole life I've been like non-emotional. Am I making sense? I don't think I'm making
Yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah. Because Jen,
And
I'm like
I
the
was saying to my
opposite.
husband,
The
yeah,
opposite for me.
yes,
So
I am emotional now and I've never been before. And I was saying to my husband the other day, even when it comes to like Mother's Day, I want to be like spoiled. And
yeah,
I never, ever would have said that
I
three
would have
years
said
ago. Ever.
I would say that about my birthday. But now you're different
Now I want
about it.
more holidays.
Now I'm gonna take another one, please.
It's
But
just very interesting.
yeah, it's different. I feel like
Like,
you change in a lot of ways when you become a mom and a parent and a wife and all those things. But you do still have things that you need to happen, that you would like to happen, and like those things are all put just like in the back of the caboose of like all the other things that the train's pulling. you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
so.
Again, I wish
Okay,
we knew someone that was like a like postpartum like health psychologist that could just be
that would be
like,
great. We should look into one of those. Bring in one of
here's
those people on. That'd probably be really
because I
helpful.
feel like
They'd probably just tell us to go to therapy. You need to talk to
honestly,
somebody.
honestly, go to therapy or get on some sort of medication and it will balance out in like 8 years.
I know, in like 8 years, it's all gonna be fine.
I do think that's the truth though, because I look at moms with like teenagers. I know that every phase of life has its own challenges. I recognize that wholeheartedly. But I feel like I look at moms with older children and I'm like, oh, they've reconnected with themselves. They've circled back around. They're
Hmm.
definitely a different person. They're definitely a brand new person, but they've
Yeah,
circled back around to like falling back in love with themselves,
yeah.
which does give me light at the end of the tunnel to know like you do kind of come out of the clouds eventually. And I know that
Hmm.
and I've heard that. Um, but it's also, it would be so nice for someone to say to you, like, okay, you're 1,000% normal for thinking all these things. And also, here's some tools
Here's
to
some tools.
help you along the way.
Yeah, I keep having this book pop up that says like stop breaking your own heart or something. And I'm like, is this a sign? Why does
Mm,
this literally keep showing up like on my Facebook feed, on my Instagram, like on one of those like quote swipe things? Like this just keeps
yes.
showing up and I'm like, I'm already reading 3 books, you guys. I can't.
I'm in a book club. If it comes up in book club, great. Maybe you need to
It's
suggest it for the next
it's
book.
a lot. They're gonna be like, Jenna, that's a self-help book. You
We want to read about dragons and sex.
We're trying to read about dragons and spicy things. It has been really fun though to see the people who comment on the books that I'm reading. Like, oh, this is so good. And I'm like, oh, you read that book? You did? Wow. Fun.
The amount of like secret, I can't even say secret because I don't think they're secret about it, but the amount of like secret readers is fascinating
Me
because
too. Yeah. I'm like, I can't be secret about it because I don't know anything about any of the books that I agreed to because I never have a suggestion. I just say like, okay, cool, yeah, that's what we're reading. And then they're like, you have to read this one too.
fantastic.
You have to read this one. And I'm like, awesome. So then I post it and then I start reading it and then I'm like, oh my gosh, that
It
was
is good.
scandalous.
Yes.
Or like, oh my God, I don't know anything about history. So that's embarrassing. Like, just so many things. It's fun. Being in a book club has been
Absolutely.
really fun. Grateful for those
I would love to
girls.
join one. I know. I'm also trying not to
Then
spiral
join ours,
about the
Shannon,
fact
and
that
we can
like
talk about it.
I was gonna say just tell me what you're reading and I'll
Tell you what I'm reading. Yeah.
virtually connect
We can have a meeting about it.
the podcast
Yeah.
in this month episode.
Just
Wouldn't it
some
be
tea.
fun to have a book club with sort of ambitious people though?
I
Let's
would
all
love
read it
that.
together and we'll check back in later.
Let's add it to our train. We can.
Okay. If you guys want to do another thing with us, let us know.
I love you. I just love that I got to
I
see
love
you
you
and that
too.
this is working.
It's working.
It's working.
How
I'll be a
beautiful is that? How
guest
beautiful
every
is a
time. I
working?
will be a guest
Yep.
every time. I don't need a host.
There's nothing to hosting, you know? I'm here.
No
You're doing the
guest.
same thing I'm doing. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening for our vent session. And in the comments of this posting, please let us know if one, there's anything that you'd like to hear us vent about more so, or if there's a specific topic you'd like us to talk about because we would love to touch into what our listeners would like to know.
Yeah. Love you.
We'll catch you
And
next
that's
week.
a wrap for today's episode
Bye.
of Sorta Ambitious. Thanks for joining us on this roller coaster of momhood and entrepreneurship.
Remember, life gets hectic, and we can't promise to drop an episode every week, but we will certainly try our best. Your understanding means the world to us.
If you want more behind-the-scenes action, connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, where we're sharing laughs, struggles, and the occasional dance party, because why not?
And if you enjoyed our chat today, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We've got some incredible guests and topics lined up for this year, and we won't want you to miss out.
Your support keeps us going, so make sure to spread the love. Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, or anyone who could use a good dose of ambition and reality.
Until next time, stay sorta ambitious, and remember, you're doing an amazing job.